The cafeteria of Starbase Orion was always loud. Voices from 100 different species mixed with the hum of floating trays, and the soft hiss of oxygen vents. It was lunchtime, but for one girl sitting alone at the end of the hall, it felt like a battlefield. Her name was Lyra, and she was not like the others. Her skin glowed faintly blue. Her eyes shimmered like starlight. She was new to the academy, the only one of her kind among hundreds of humans and alien cadets. And that made her a target. 3 cadets walked toward her table, laughing too loudly. They were from Earth, strong, proud, and not very kind. Their leader, Drake, carried a smug smile and a tray full of food. "Hey, Starfish," he said, stopping beside her. "You dropped something." He tilted his tray, and a bowl of alien stew spilled all over the floor. The thick red sauce splashed across Lyra's boots. Everyone nearby froze. Conversation stopped. Lyra looked down at the mess, then up at the humans. Her voice trembled. "I didn't drop it." Drake grinned. "Then prove it. Clean it up. With your hands." A few aliens laughed nervously. No one moved to help her. This was how it went here. Humans ruled the academy halls, and everyone else stayed quiet. Lyra knelt slowly. Her delicate fingers touched the floor, gathering the spilled food. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just picked it up, one piece at a time. But then Drake took a step closer. No, you don't get it. You eat it." The cafeteria went silent again. Someone whispered, "He's not serious." But he was. Lyra froze, her heart pounding. Her people had honor. She was trained never to show weakness. Yet here she was, surrounded by laughter, shame burning her cheeks. She picked up one piece of the food and raised it halfway, then stopped, because someone was standing beside her. A shadow fell across the floor. A human figure, tall, lean, wearing the dark jacket of a flight cadet. His boots clicked on the metal floor as he stepped between her and Drake. It was Eli Warren, one of the newer recruits. Nobody knew much about him, except that he had transferred in from the outer colonies and preferred silence over attention. He looked at Drake, then at the food on the ground. "Is this what you call strength?" he asked quietly. Drake smirked. "Stay out of it, rookie. This is just a little fun." Eli didn't move. His voice stayed calm, but his eyes burned. "You think humiliating someone makes you bigger? You're just proving how small you are." A murmur ran through the cafeteria. Everyone watched now. Even the kitchen droids paused mid-motion. Drake stepped forward. "You gonna fight me for her? For that thing?" Lyra flinched. The word thing cut deeper than any blow. Eli tilted his head slightly, then smiled, the kind of smile that meant trouble. "Hold my beer," he said softly, setting his drink down on the table beside him. Before Drake could react, Eli kicked the tray from his hands. It clattered across the floor, spraying stew everywhere. Gasps echoed through the hall. Then Eli bent down, not to fight but to help Lyra stand. He offered his hand. She hesitated, then took it. His grip was firm, steady, human but kind. "Come on," he said. "Let's get out of here." Drake's face burned with anger, but the room was no longer laughing. The silence was heavier than any words. Eli led Lyra toward the door. As they walked out, someone whispered, "Did that guy just challenge Drake?" Someone else said, "He's dead tomorrow." But Lyra looked at Eli and saw something she hadn't seen in anyone since she left her home world: courage. And Eli? He had no idea that helping her would start something far bigger than a cafeteria fight. It would change the fate of the entire starbase, and maybe the galaxy itself. The next morning, Starbase Orion buzzed with whispers. Word of the cafeteria scene had spread like wildfire. Everyone was talking about the human who stood up for the alien girl. "Did you see how he grabbed Drake's tray? Yeah, that new guy, Eli something. He's crazy. They say Commander Rawl wants to see him." Eli didn't care about the gossip. He walked through the corridor calmly, his dark jacket swaying behind him. His face was expressionless, but inside his mind was racing. He knew what he'd done was risky. Humans ruled the Academy's social ranks, and Drake's father was a decorated fleet captain. This wouldn't end quietly. At the far end of the corridor, Lyra was waiting for him. She looked nervous, her blue skin glowing softly in the artificial light. "You shouldn't have done that," she said quietly. They'll punish you. Eli shrugged. Maybe. But they won't make you eat off the floor again. She looked at him confused. Why would you risk yourself for me? You don't even know me. Eli paused. Because someone should have done it a long time ago. Before Lyra could reply, a mechanical voice echoed through the hall. Cadet Eli Warren. Report to Commander Rawls' office immediately. Lyra's eyes widened. They're calling you in. Eli sighed. Guess the fun's over. Commander Rawls' office was cold and silent, with stars glittering through the wide observation window. Rawl, a tall alien with silver eyes and a voice like thunder, stood behind his desk. You're the cadet who interrupted yesterday's incident, Rawl said slowly. Yes, sir, Eli replied. Rawl studied him for a long moment. Do you know who Cadet Drake's father is? Yes, sir. Then you understand the trouble you've caused. Eli didn't look away. With respect, sir, the only trouble I see is letting people treat others like animals. Rawl's metallic brow furrowed. For a moment, Eli thought he'd gone too far. But then the commander's lips curved into something that might have been a faint smile. You have courage, Cadet Warren, Rawl said. But courage without discipline becomes chaos. You're dismissed for now. Keep your head down. Eli saluted and turned to leave. As the door closed behind him, Rawl's aide, a thin alien with crystalline skin, whispered, You're not going to punish him? Rawl's silver eyes gleamed. Not yet. Let's see how he handles what comes next. By evening, the tension had returned. In the training hall, Eli walked in to find Drake and his two friends waiting. The air smelled of ozone and sweat. The lights flickered faintly, the kind of flicker that made every instinct tighten. Drake stepped forward, smiling like a predator. You embarrassed me, rookie. In front of everyone. That's not how things work here. Eli crossed his arms. Then maybe it's time they did. Drake's grin widened. You think you're some kind of hero? This isn't a movie. You don't stand up to me. You kneel. Before Eli could respond, Drake lunged. The two collided with a crack of energy. Drake's cyber-augmented strength sent Eli staggering back, but Eli recovered fast. He wasn't enhanced, but he was fast, faster than Drake expected. He dodged, ducked, and landed a sharp blow to Drake's ribs. The crowd of cadets that had gathered around began to cheer and shout. Someone yelled, Go Warren! But Drake wasn't done. He activated his wrist device, a training gauntlet, and a surge of blue light surrounded his arm. You want to fight? Fine. Let's make it official. Eli glanced at the weapon, then smirked. You really don't like losing, do you? Drake swung, the energy field crackling. Eli dodged again, then countered with a kick that sent Drake's weapon skidding across the floor. For a second, everything stopped. Then Eli stood over him, breathing hard. You done? Drake's face twisted with rage. He grabbed a hidden blade from his boot, not part of the training gear. You shouldn't have done that. Before he could strike, a glowing blue shield appeared between them. The energy hummed like a storm. Lyra stood at the edge of the ring, her hands glowing with alien light. Enough, she shouted. Everyone froze. The glow from her hands faded slowly, leaving silence behind. Drake stepped back, staring at her in shock. You can do that. Lyra lohuret hergaze. My people were warriors once. We still remember how. Eli looked at her, surprised, but also impressed. Drake stormed out, his pride shattered but his hatred growing darker. The crowd slowly began to disperse. Lyra turned to Eli. Now they'll come for both of us. Eli smiled faintly. Then we stand together. Lyra's eyes softened. You don't know what you've started, Eli Warren. He glanced at the glowing mark on her wrist, a strange symbol that hadn't been there before. Maybe not, he said. But I think I'm about to find out. The next day, the halls of Starbase Orion felt colder. Whispers followed Eli and Lyra everywhere they went. Some cadets avoided looking at them, others stared too long. Drake and his friends were nowhere to be seen, but Eli knew this wasn't over. Bullies like Drake didn't forget humiliation. They planned revenge. Still, something else bothered him more. That glowing mark on Lyra's wrist, it hadn't been there before. It appeared right after she used that strange energy shield. During lunch, Eli and Lyra sat in a quiet corner, far from the crowd. He leaned closer and asked, That thing you did yesterday, the shield. What was it? Lyra hesitated. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. I shouldn't have done it. My people were forbidden to use our abilities after the purge. Eli frowned. The purge. She nodded. Years ago, the Galactic Council decided our kind was too dangerous. We were gifted energy manipulators, but the humans feared what they didn't understand. So they ordered us scattered. My family was taken to different colonies. I never saw them again. Elias tightened. And now you're here. What? I don't know, Lyra said quietly. I was chosen for the exchange program, or so they told me. But something feels wrong. They run constant medical tests. They make me wear these monitors. She tugged at the band on her arm. Sometimes I feel like they're watching me. Eli leaned back, thinking. The Academy claimed to be a symbol of peace between species. But what if it wasn't? What if it was something darker? Before he could ask more, a voice echoed through the cafeteria speakers. Cadet Warren and Cadet Lyra, report to Medical Bay 7 for evaluation. Lyra's face went pale. That's the lab I told you about. Eli stood up. Then let's see what they're really doing there. The medical bay was deep inside the base, past security doors and glowing scanners. A cold blue light filled the air, and the hum of machines was constant. A human doctor greeted them, tall, with calm eyes and a perfect smile. Ah, Cadet Lyra. Right on time. And you must be Cadet Warren. I see you've been keeping our special guest safe. Lyra's hands tightened at her sides. Why am I here again? The doctor's smile didn't change. Routine tests. Nothing to fear. But Eli noticed something. Behind the doctor, through a glass wall, several scientists were observing. On their screens, he saw the same symbol that had appeared on Lyra's wrist. It pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. What's that symbol mean? Eli asked. The doctor's eyes flicked toward him, still smiling. Just a data marker. Now if you'll wait outside. Eli didn't move. I'll stay. The doctor's smile vanished. That's not allowed. Then you'll have to throw me out. For a moment, tension filled the room. Then the doctor sighed and turned to his team. Fine. Begin the scan. Lyra stepped onto the platform. A ring of light surrounded her, rising slowly from her feet to her head. The machines beeped faster and faster. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and the mark on her wrist began to glow brighter. The doctor frowned. Increase containment field. Containment field? Eli repeated, his voice sharp. Before the doctor could answer, Lyra cried out. The air shimmered, and energy burst from her body in waves of blue light. Screens cracked. Glass shattered. The containment field exploded in sparks. Eli rushed forward, grabbing her before she fell. Lyra, stay with me. Her voice was weak, trembling. They're using me. My energy, they're harvesting it. The alarms blared. Security drones burst through the doors. Stop them, the doctor shouted. Eli pulled Lyra toward the exit, ducking under a beam of light. He kicked one drone's leg out, grabbed another, and smashed it against the wall. Sparks flew everywhere. They sprinted through the corridor, alarms flashing red. Lyra stumbled, and Eli lifted her arm over his shoulder to help her run. Where are we going? She gasped. Somewhere safe, he said. Somewhere they can't track us. They reached a maintenance hatch and crawled inside, the door sealing behind them. The noise outside faded, replaced by the hum of machinery. Lyra leaned against the wall, breathing hard. They know now they'll hunt us. Eli looked at her wrist. The glowing mark was fading, but faint letters appeared under it. Not alien but human.it read, Project Starborn, Phase 2. Eli's eyes widened. You're not just part of an experiment, Lyra. You are the experiment. She looked at him, tears welling in her glowing eyes. Then we have to find out who's behind it, before they finish what they started. Eli nodded, his jaw tightening. Then we expose them all. Whatever this Project Starborn is, we end it. Outside the hatch, security patrols moved through the corridor, scanning every shadow. But they were too late. Somewhere in the dark tunnels beneath Starbase Orion, a human and an alien girl were about to uncover a truth that could shake the galaxy to its core. The tunnels beneath Starbase Orion were not meant for cadets. They were narrow, dark, and filled with the hum of old machinery. Pipes hissed, wires sparked, and the air smelled like metal and dust. It was a forgotten part of the station, a place where only engineers and maintenance drones went. Eli moved carefully, flashlight in one hand, keeping Lyra close behind him. Her blue skin glowed faintly in the darkness, casting a soft light on the walls. How deep do these tunnels go? Eli whispered. Lyra shook her head. I don't know. These weren't on the academy maps. Maybe they're older than the station itself. Eli frowned. Older than the station? That doesn't make sense. They walked until they reached a locked metal door marked Restricted Zone. No entry. The keypad beside it flickered weakly. Lyra stepped forward and placed her glowing hand on it. The device beeped once, then the door slid open with a hiss. Eli raised an eyebrow. Guess your powers come in handy. She gave a faint smile. I'm learning that too. They stepped inside. The room was massive, filled with old consoles, glowing panels, and a large central structure that pulsed with dim blue light. Dust floated through the air like tiny stars. Eli walked up to one of the terminals and brushed off the dust. Looks like a data hub. Lyra's eyes widened. No, it's a core. A living system. A what? Not human technology, she said softly. This is alien. Very old. Eli studied the core. It was made of smooth crystal-like material, alive with faint energy patterns. On the surface, the same symbol that had appeared on Lyra's wrist pulsed slowly. Project Starborn. Eli's heart sank. So this is where it started. He activated one of the consoles. The screen flickered to life, showing old video logs. A voice played through the static, calm, scientific, and cold. Project Starborn, Log 01. Subject 1 shows stable fusion compatibility. The energy transfer exceeds expectations. The alien genome is the key. Human hosts cannot withstand the output without collapse. Eli protse. They were experimenting on hybrids. Lyra's hands trembled. That means they didn't bring me here for training. They brought me here to finish this experiment. She touched the core gently, and memories not her own flashed through her mind. Scientists in white suits, alien children in containment pods, and bright light consuming everything. She gasped and stumbled back, tears forming. They used my people, she whispered. They drained us to power this thing. Eli clenched his fists. They turned your kind into batteries. The console beeped again. Another log began to play. Log 07. Starborn energy detected beneath the primary reactor. Containment unstable. Activation must remain secret from the cadet population. Lyra's eyes widened. There's another core, under the reactor. And if it's unstable, Eli said slowly, it could destroy the whole station. Before they could react, a voice echoed from behind them. Impressive discovery, cadets. They turned. Standing in the doorway was Drake, flanked by 2 security officers and the doctor from the lab. Drake's face was lit by the glow of a blaster rifle. Didn't think you'd get far, Warren. But hey, thanks for leading us right to the evidence. Eli stepped in front of Lyra. You're working with them? Drake smirked. Working for them. You think this academy trains heroes? No, Warren. It builds weapons. The kind that can control stars. The doctor stepped forward. Lyra's energy signature is linked to this core. We needed her to unlock it. And now, thanks to you two, we finally can. Lyra's voice shook. If you activate it, it'll destroy everything. The doctor smiled. Sacrifices are always necessary for progress. He reached for the control panel. Eli acted fast. He threw a metal pipe at the panel, sparks flying as the system shorted out. The room plunged into red emergency light. Run! Eli shouted. Lyra and Eli sprinted down the tunnel as alarms blared behind them. Security drones swarmed, but Lyra raised her hands, creating a shimmering energy barrier that stopped the first wave of blasts. Keep going, she cried, her energy flaring brighter. Eli dragged her into another corridor, the walls vibrating from the explosions. Finally, they ducked behind a thick blast door and sealed it shut. For a moment, silence returned. Only their heavy breathing filled the air. Lyra's hands glowed faintly. They'll activate the reactor soon. We have to stop them. Eli nodded. Then we need help. Someone who knows the truth. He looked around the dark tunnel. There's only one person who might, Commander Rawl. Lyra frowned. The one who almost punished you? Yeah, Eli said. Because I think he's been protecting this secret too, but maybe for a reason. Lyra looked at him, eyes glowing with both fear and determination. Then we find him. Before they find us. Outside the locked chamber, the core pulsed brighter, reacting to Lyra's energy even from afar. Its systems awakened after decades of silence, and deep inside the machinery, something ancient opened its eyes. Eli and Lyra climbed through the last of the tunnels, emerging inside a dim corridor near the command deck. The hum of engines was louder now, vibrating through the walls like a heartbeat. Red warning lights pulsed faintly, proof that the station's systems were unstable, probably from what they'd seen below. Lyra wiped sweat from her forehead, her skin flickering faintly with blue light. If they activate the lower core, it will merge with the reactor. The energy release could vaporize everything in orbit. Eli glanced at her, steady but determined. Then we stop it, before Drake and the doctor do something they can't control. They moved quietly toward Commander Rawl's office. The door's scanner recognized Eli's ID and opened with a soft hiss. Rawl was already inside, standing by the wide window that showed the vast black of space. His silver eyes glimmered as he turned to them. I was wondering when you'd come. Lyra froze. You knew about Project Starborn. Rawl's expression darkened. I've known since before either of you arrived. But knowing and stopping it are not the same thing. Eli stepped forward. You let them experiment on her. Rawl's voice lowered. You think I wanted this? The Academy is built on lies, Cadet Warren. The Galactic Council funds it as a school, but it's a research facility, one designed to harness alien energy for human control. The scientists below, they answer to no one but the Council's shadow division. Lyra's voice trembled. They said it was for peace. Rawl turned toward her. Peace built on chains isn't peace. It's tyranny. For a moment, silence filled the room except for the faint hum of the ship's core far below. Then Eli asked, what exactly is the Starborn energy? Rawl exhaled slowly, as if carrying a burden too heavy for words. The Starborn core isn't just a reactor. It's alive, a remnant from an ancient civilization that once shaped the stars themselves. Your species, Lyra. They were its guardians. When humans found it, they took it. They believed they could control it. Lyra's voice was a whisper. And now it's waking up. Rawl nodded grimly. Yes. And when it wakes fully, it won't distinguish between human or alien. It will cleanse everything, to start again. Eli's eyes narrowed. Then why not shut it down? Because it's too late, Rawl said. Drake and the doctor are in the reactor wing. They've already begun the activation sequence. Once the process starts, the core will protect itself. Lyra looked down at her glowing wrist. It's linked to me. Maybe. I can reach it. Rawl shook his head sharply. If you try, it might consume you. Eli glanced at her, then back to Rawl. If we do nothing, everyone dies anyway. So what's the better risk? Rawl studied them both for a long moment, then nodded slowly. You'll need access to the reactor control bridge. I can override the security locks, but once I do, they'll know you're coming. Eli gave a small grin. Wouldn't be fun otherwise. Rawl smirked faintly, just for a second, before turning to the console. His hands moved fast over the holographic keys. You'll have 15 minutes before the failsafes kick back in. After that, this place becomes a tomb. The door opened with a warning buzz. Eli turned to Lyra. Ready? She nodded, her eyes glowing brighter. Let's finish this. The corridors leading to the reactor were chaos. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and soldiers ran toward the lower decks. Eli and Lyra slipped through the smoke and shadows, dodging patrols. When they reached the reactor chamber, they saw it. A massive sphere of glowing blue light suspended in midair, surrounded by machinery and energy conduits. Drake stood at the control platform, watching the doctor type in the final codes. Eli's voice echoed across the chamber. Drake. Step away. Drake turned slowly, smiling. You again? I should have known you'd play hero one more time. Turn it off, Eli said, stepping closer. Can't, Drake said. It's too beautiful to destroy. This power, it's everything the human race deserves. Lyra's voice rang through the noise. You don't understand. It's alive and it's angry. The doctor hit the final key. The reactor's glow intensified, the walls shaking as the energy surged upward. The hum grew into a roar. Then everything stopped. The light dimmed. The core pulsed once, twice, and then a voice, deep and resonant, filled the chamber. I have slept for ages. Who dares awaken me? Lyra fell to her knees, clutching her head. It's speaking to me, it knows me. The voice echoed again, this time softer. Child of the Starborn. You were taken from the light. Return or perish with them. Drake backed away, terrified. What is this thing? Eli reached for Lyra, but she was glowing now, brighter than ever before. Energy streamed from her body, connecting her directly to the core. The doctor screamed. She's merging with it. Shut it down. Eli shouted over the roar. Lyra, you have to fight it. Her eyes opened, shining like stars. I can feel everything. The pain. The fear. My people. They were trapped in here. The core's energy flared, shaking the station. Consoles exploded. Metal bent. Eli grabbed her shoulders. Then set them free. Lyra, you're not their prisoner. You're their voice. She looked at him, and for the first time smiled. Hold my beer. Then she raised her hands, and the entire chamber erupted in light. The light swallowed everything. For a moment, Eli couldn't tell where the floor ended or the air began. Only endless white and the low hum of energy vibrating through his bones. His body felt weightless, suspended between two worlds. Then the light began to shape itself. He saw fragments, planets burning, stars collapsing, and vast alien figures of light walking among galaxies. Voices whispered through the glow, thousands of them, ancient and mournful. Where am I? Eli whispered. A voice answered, familiar and distant. Lyra, you're inside the core, she said softly. Inside its memory. Eli turned, and there she was, glowing like a living star, her hair flowing in waves of light, her eyes brighter than ever. She looked both human and something far beyond human. Lyra, he breathed. What happened? The core connected to me. It's showing me what it remembers. Her voice trembled as the visions shifted around them. These are my ancestors, the true Starborn. They were not conquerors. They were creators. They built life, shaped light itself. The images shifted again. Now Eli saw humans, early explorers in ships made of steel, entering Starborn worlds. He saw them take the crystals, drain their energy, and use it to power weapons. The Starborn fell, one by one, their light fading. The humans found our source, Lyra whispered. They said it was a gift. But it was a prison. Eli clenched his fists. So the academy, the experiments, it's all built on this. She nodded. They kept the core sleeping for centuries, feeding it with fragments of my people. My energy woke it. The light around them flickered violently. A deeper, older voice rolled through the air. The core itself. You have awakened the memory. The cycle must end. All that was taken will return. Eli looked up. Wait, return how? Through fire. Through cleansing. The ground shook. Energy surged and images shattered into chaos. Metal, fire, screaming voices. Eli grabbed Lyra's hand. It's going to blow, isn't it? She nodded, her face pale. The core wants to reset everything. It doesn't see guilt or innocence, only balance. Eli's heart pounded. Then we stop it. Lyra shook her head slowly. I can't. I'm part of it now. He pulled her closer, his voice fierce. You're not a machine, Lyra. You're you. You stopped Drake. You saved lives. You can fight this. The core's light intensified. Energy lashed around them like lightning. Lyra screamed. Kulachin herchist. I can't hold it back much longer, she cried. It's pulling me apart. Eli wrapped his arms around her, holding her through the storm. Then we do it together. She looked into his eyes, trembling. You'd risk dying here? He smiled faintly. Guess I'm just that kind of idiot. She almost laughed, almost, before her glow flared again. The light surged outward, consuming them both. In the physical world, alarms screamed through Starbase Orion. Commander Rawl raced into the control center, barking orders. Evacuate all decks. Reactor breach imminent. Engineers ran in panic. The reactor chamber was engulfed in energy, pure, living light bursting from every wall. Drake lay unconscious on the floor, while the doctor frantically tried to shut down the control panel. It's not responding, the doctor shouted. The core's overriding every system. Rawl glared at the display. Then we have one option left. Manual detonation. If we destroy the reactor, we might stop the chain reaction. He opened the security lock for the manual override. His aide hesitated. Sir, that will kill everyone inside the reactor wing. Rawl's jaw tightened. They're already dead. But before he could press the command, the lights flickered, and a voice echoed through the speakers. Wait! It was Lyra's voice, calm, clear, and filled with light. Commander Rawl. Shut down the reactor feed lines. I can hold the core, but only if you disconnect it from the main grid. Rawl froze. You're alive? For now. But hurry. Rawl slammed the command. Do it. Reroute all power away from the main reactor. The control center exploded into motion. Technicians worked at lightning speed, rerouting circuits and shutting down energy relays. The room shook as the core's energy began to drain. Back inside the glowing storm, Lyra was fading. Her body flickered like dying starlight. It's working, she whispered. The core is losing control. Eli held her tighter. Then hang on. She looked up at him, tears shimmering like light. If the core shuts down, I'll disappear too. I'm part of it now. He shook his head. No. We'll find another way. There isn't one. She smiled sadly. But you gave me something no one else did. You made me feel human. Her body began to dissolve into light, her voice barely a whisper. Thank you, Eli. He grabbed her hand, refusing to let go. No. Don't you dare leave me. The core pulsed one last time, and the light exploded outward, then faded into silence. When Eli opened his eyes, he was lying on the reactor floor. The room was dark. Smoke drifted in the air. The core was silent, its glow completely gone. Commander Rawl entered, his uniform scorched. It's over. The core's offline. Eli pushed himself up weakly. Where's Lyra? Rawl's expression softened. She's gone. The energy readings dropped to 0 the moment the core stabilized. Eli looked toward the shattered core chamber, where faint blue particles floated like starlight in the air. He reached out, and one tiny spark landed on his hand, pulsing gently before fading. He whispered, She's not gone. She's part of the stars now. Rawl nodded quietly. Maybe that's where the Starborn were always meant to be. Eli stood, his heart heavy but burning with resolve. He looked out the observation window, where the blackness of space stretched endlessly. She saved us, he said softly. Now it's our turn to make sure no one ever does this again. Days passed after the explosion. Starbase Orion floated in silent orbit above the ruined moon. Half its systems offline, half its crew gone. What had once been a fortress of pride now felt like a graveyard of steel and memory. Eli moved through the quiet halls like a ghost. His body was healing, but his mind wasn't. Every shadow, every echo of machinery reminded him of Lyra. Her voice, her light, her laughter that had once filled even the darkest corners of this cold place. The academy staff said she was gone. The readings showed 0 trace of the core, no energy signatures, nothing left of her kind. But deep inside, Eli refused to believe it. One night, he returned to the observation deck, the same place he had once watched the stars with Lyra. The broken glass had been replaced, but the view was the same. Endless, beautiful, and lonely. He leaned against the railing, whispering, You said you'd always look at the stars. So, if you're out there, I hope you can see me. The console behind him beeped faintly. Eli frowned and turned. One of the hollow panels flickered to life on its own. The screen flashed once, twice, and then a faint pulse appeared. Blue. Familiar. Eli Protse. No way. He tapped the console. Identify source. The system replied in a monotone. Unknown signal. Origin, station internal network. A slow rhythmic pulse, the same frequency that once matched Lyra's heartbeat, began playing through the speakers. Lyra. Eli Vispered. Is that you? The lights flickered. A faint image appeared on the screen, static at first, then the shape of a face, shimmering like mist. Her face. Eli. Her voice was faint, like a whisper across time. Eli's heart nearly stopped. You're alive. She smiled softly, her image flickering. Not alive. Not like before. When the core collapsed, my consciousness merged with its systems. My body's gone, but part of me remains, scattered across the network. He stepped closer. I can bring you back. We can rebuild your body. No, she interrupted gently. The core isn't just gone. It's sleeping within me. If I wake fully, it will awaken too. And it will start the cycle again. So you're trapped. I chose this. To keep the core asleep. To give everyone another chance. Tears welled in his eyes. You shouldn't have to pay for what others did. She smiled faintly. You taught me what it means to care. That's worth everything. He shook his head. There has to be a way to free you without waking it. Lyra's hologram flickered again. Maybe someday. But not now. The humans and the Starborn still have much to learn. Promise me you'll help them, Eli. Promise me you won't let them make the same mistakes. Eli took a long breath, fighting the ache in his chest. I promise. Her eyes softened, glowing faintly. Then my light isn't wasted. The signal began to fade. He reached out instinctively, his fingers brushing through the hologram as if trying to hold on to her. Wait, he said. Don't go. I'm not gone, she whispered. I'm in the systems, in the stars, maybe even in you. Every time you look up at the sky, remember, we are made of the same light. And then with a final soft pulse of blue, she was gone. Weeks later, Starbase Orion began reconstruction. The Academy was disbanded, its experiments condemned. Commander Rawl was reassigned, and a new council was formed to study the ethics of alien technology. But Eli didn't stay. He couldn't. He took a small shuttle and left the base behind, heading toward the frontier where new stars burned bright. The galaxy was wide and there were still stories out there, stories like Lyra's. As his ship crossed into deep space, he replayed her signal one last time. The audio file contained only faint static and one final message hidden in the waveform. The stars remember us. He smiled, whispering into the vast dark. Then I'll make sure they never forget. He set the autopilot toward a distant cluster of nebulae, the last known region where Starborn signals were once detected. Maybe, just maybe, he could find others like her. Maybe she was still out there, watching. As the stars stretched into lines and the ship jumped into hyperspace, Eli leaned back in his seat, feeling both grief and peace. He thought of the girl who had once been forced to eat from the floor, humiliated and broken, and how she had become light itself, saving everyone who had ever looked down on her. A single tear slid down his cheek as he whispered, You showed them who you really were, Lyra. You showed them what it means to be truly human. Outside the viewport, a faint flicker of blue light danced across the stars, small, fleeting, and beautiful. Eli smiled. Yeah, I see you. And the ship vanished into the cosmos, leaving behind a trail of shimmering light, like the memory of a promise that would never fade.